म नरको दिनै हुँदैन. I cry every day. I went through a lot of stuff from being sexually.
It's giving me a goosebumps.
I was molested for quite a long time. Even when I confided with a parent figure and so on, मैले राम्रो मद्दत पाइनँ. There was a lot of burden on me to investigate what was happening. Please do not question my integrity as a mother. It's about whether I will be burnt alive.
Hello and namaste. Welcome to another episode of Raw Talk with Resilient Woman by Sudikshya Shrestha. Today, I am super excited to have a very special guest. She is a passionate mother, an IVF educator, and a tech enthusiast. Her personal journey and professional insight bring a unique perspective on motherhood. For me, she is someone who has a lot of positive energy, someone who always see life on brighter side. So, please join me in welcoming PepperPaudel, aka Pepper.
Thank you very much, Namaste, and many congratulations to you for starting this venture and bringing Nepali women's voices together.
Thank you so much, Pepper. It's so much of pleasure for having you on my set.
Oh,
it's
likewise
so much
for me
pleasure,
too.
yeah. So now let's start with your background, your childhood, where it all started, and were you born and brought up here or kasto थियो? So I want to get everything.
Sure.
yeah.
Interesting question. I do get asked a lot about my background and where I origin from. I am originally from Tamil Kathmandu. That's where I was born and brought up for 17 years. My ancestors take me back to Lekhnath, Danakonak, Pokhara side. So I have a lot of connection and deeper sort of home feeling of homeliness with Pokhara as well. Over the last few years, I've tried my best to reconnect with my ancestors and, get to know the history and how they migrated to Kathmandu and so on. And it brings a lot of joy to me. So, very proud Nepali, Nepali by birth, British by deed, as they say. I think हामीहरू एनआरएन्सको कथा नै त्यही छ, जन्मभूमि एउटा, कर्मभूमि अर्को. And we hope we can give justice to both the lands that we actually do our karma in.
Yeah. So, taking back to those time, when did you come to UK?
Yeah, actually, that takes me back a while ago now. I left Nepal to go to America for further studies to begin with. So, my first, jet plane go experience was at the age of 17. I think I was roughly... That was 2008. So UK I migrated over to UK in 2010, which is 15 years solid now.
15 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have recently been to Nepal as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have. I've been going back, or at least I try to make a conscious decision to go back on a regular basis. सुरुमा चाहिँ, we're navigating life, visas, this, that. Also, मलाई त त्यस्तो गाह्रो परेन जस्तो लाग्छ because I came here on a spouse visa. I got married to my husband who's British, Nepali, होइन. So, अरूको situation हेरिकन त I'm very grateful that मैले अझ धेरै दुःख गर्नु परेन कि जस्तो लाग्छ, होइन. But still, 5-6 years, you're just like all over the place. You're just trying to establish your life here. घरबार, काम, career, के गर्ने, and so on. But त्यसपछि चाहिँ अलिअलि युरोप घुमियो, यताउता गर्यो, and I'd seen a lot of the world. I've been to a few countries and I'm glad I did that. But I felt like I need to give back to Nepal.
Wow.
So consciously चाहिँ every year अहिले जाने कोसिस गर्छु. About whether that will continue as planned. अब त्यो त भवितव्य होइन, थाहा हुँदैन भविष्यमा के हुन्छ भनेर. But I would love to go to Nepal regularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So नेपालमा चाहिँ को हुनुहुन्छ?
Nepal, so my mom travels back and forth from America to Nepal. In the recent years, that's what she's done. My brother and bhai are there. And my entire sort of dad's side of family are there. And I'm so close to my Fujus and my father's side of family. But my maternal side, most of them, mero mama, maizu, hajumaru, everyone's in America. And they've been there for the last 30 odd years. So families been spread out globally, and it's really hard to get everyone together. So the opportunity jaile paincha Nepal gaera, whenever they're flying or whenever someone's coming to Nepal, I just seize that opportunity. Not only just that, but I think community-led initiative or my focus back bhaera. I've always had this philosophy of giving back. And I want to do that to no other than the Nepali society, and it gives me great joy.
Wow. So you told me community-led initiatives that you are doing. So कस्तो खालको initiatives-हरु होला त त्यो?
So starting from 2014 all the way till this age, I think I've been involved in charities around educational, sustainable development, to animal welfare charities. I myself have rescued a lot of stray dogs, and उनीहरुको बन्दीकरण as in sterilization गराउने र neutering गर्ने पनि त्यस्तो campaigns I've run that. My first ever involvement with a philanthropic charity was Educating Nepal, which was founded by two of my very beloved friends, Ashwad and Binod. There was an isolated village in Mazigao, Sindhupalchok area, and a forester randomly found that isolated village. Ani त्यहाँको बच्चाहरु चाहिँ for generations they'd never been to school. The closest school that they went on to was 2 hours walking distance from the village.
2 hours.
Yeah, and the Majis lost their trade or their real essence of fishery because त्यो जुन खोला थियो उनीहरुको घरको बस्ती थियो खोला, the native खोला that they had, त्यहाँको native fishहरु सबै हराएर गयो, speciesहरु हराएर गयो due to hydropower projects and so on, because there was sort of unethical way of diverting the route of different species to create a better route for the hydropower projects and so on. So the only thing they knew was fishery, and they lost that art, and they couldn't find fish in the river anymore. So agriculture ma kehi pani, they had very little knowledge. Ani bachchaharu really struggled to find food. Kids were being intoxicated because the parents had to go and work in the field. And when my friends went and started sort of engaging with the community, bachchaharulai सानो सानो घरमा पठन पाठन गर्नलाई पढाउनलाई चाहिँ उनीहरूले they ran small classes in the village. अनि त्यहाँ बेलामा हजुरको 2 महिनाको देखि लिएर 4-5 वर्ष 10 वर्षको बच्चाले पनि सानो सानो आफ्नो भाइ बहिनी लिएर आउँथ्यो अनि सबैजना कोदोको रक्सी खाएर आउने के, because they didn't have enough food. And that was the situation. And when I found out the reality of what's happening in the ground in a lot of the places outside of Kathmandu, because our views, our thinking, everything about generally aligns with Kathmandu. Because so centralized, and we often, especially for someone who was a very cosmopolitan chick, like I was always in Kathmandu, Nepal, पनि त्यस्तो राम्ररी नघुमेको. The max I went to was Chitwan and Pokhara. So त्यो बाहेक मैले नेपाल देखेकै थिइनँ कि. So साँचो नेपाल मैले 2014-2015 मा re-experience गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I was like, we have to be here, we have to come back, and we need to be able to give back something to the community. अनि त्यही भएर सानो हामीले सानो कुरा गर्दा पनि कसैलाई ठुलो कुरा हुने रहेछ कि. Every little action of kindness or every little thing helps भन्छ नि यो टेस्कोको tagline जस्तो every little helps भन्छ. And it does help.
It does.
And I'll tell you an interesting fact. मैले मेरो honeymoon Nepalमा when I got married in 2014, I spent in a cowshed in Sindhupalchok. And people think I love this, like, you know, all jazz and luxury and so on. I really think I had a fantastic holiday. In fact, I was sleeping in the room with a couple of my friends. We were sharing. We had like bugs, you know, biting us.
Oh my God.
तल भेडा बाख्रा सबै कराइरहेको थियो. त्यो 2 तल्ले गोठ थियो कि. So that's where my journey to reconnecting with Nepal began. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, this is something new I'm discovering from your side, because, you know, looking to your social media, I find like you are such a jolly person. Awesome. You are a person with a lot of luxury in life. But oh my God, Pepper.
तर सकिन्छ पनि गर्नु पनि पर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ आफूलाई. लक्जरीको एउटा भ्याल्यु कसरी रियलाइज गर्ने, whether without experiencing difficulties or pain or real hardship in life, you know. So मलाई चाहिँ I came from very humble beginning. I think we were fortunate to have a very great legacy with the Bodily family in Tamil and so on. I'm very proud, you know. So त्यो हिसाबले privilege लाग्छ. तर जस्तो देखिन्छ सबैको, she might come out of a lot of comfort and so on. Everyone has hardships in their life, you know. My childhood wasn't easy. I went through a lot of stuff, from being sexually harassed to just going through a lot of challenges within the family setting and so on as well. So dekhta-feri, it's so easy to speculate or think that someone's life is easier or they've had it easy all their lives. But I think, like I always say in my expressions, that we need to be kind and we need to really take the time to understand the deeper inner us, because we all have a facade these days, don't we? Social media, personality, avatar versus what we really are or who we really are.
So, the visual of yours, what you're giving to me right now, it's like more of kindness and what you have done like 2014, 2015 तिर है. It's remarkable paper किनभने आफ्नो countryलाई केही दिनु हैन. It's a remarkable thing. So coming to a point where you said like women they go through a lot of harassment in their very young age as well. But as you said that thing that you have as well been sexually harassed. If it's okay for you to speak about it, or if you're okay to speak up, like के भएको थियो back then?
Sure.
Yeah, or how did you overcome that situation?
Yeah, so I think with Asian societies and Nepal in general, obviously I've experienced Nepal, so I can talk about it. I think the social construct or the way we're engineered is, one, we do not talk about these incidents, and it's not something that we're comfortable to express or to come up with. It is pretty much like coming out of a closet of one sort. म त्यसरी नै हेर्छु यो कुरा चाहिँ गुम्साएर राख्ने चलन छ पहिलो कुरा. त्यो गुम्साएर राख्ने कारण किन भन्दाखेरि मान्छेमा लड्ने क्षमता नभएर अथवा लड्नलाई एउटा वेपन नदिएको भएर हैन, त्यो आवाज निकालेर आफू झनै फन्दामा फस्ने हो कि आफूलाई उल्टो आरोप आउने हो. बिकज यहाँ त भिक्टिम ब्लेमिङ नै कल्चर छ नि त, जो भिक्टिम छ उसलाई नै यसले गर्दा भएको हो भन्ने हुन्छ. एन्ड आई थिङ्क इन अ पेट्रियार्किक सोसाइटी त्यो कम्प्लिकेसन त झनै छ. सो देयर इज फियर अफ स्पिकिङ आउट. एन्ड इभन नाउ वेन यु सी इन्सिडेन्ट्स अराउन्ड दिज नेपाली स्टुडेन्ट्स बिङ killed and murdered in NIIT in India and so on, they have been speaking out a number of times, but no action has been taken. So regulatory हिसाबले पनि there's a lot of red tape. न चाहिँ सुरक्षित फिल हुन्छ, न चाहिँ त्यसपछिको एउटा रिहेबिलिटेसनको मौका नै पाइन्छ, न थेरापीको कन्सेप्ट हामीले बुझेका छैनौँ हैन. सो त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि इभन वेन आई कन्फाइडेड विथ ए पेरेन्ट फिगर एन्ड सो अन, मैले राम्रो मद्दत पाइनँ. So the only thing I could do was run away from it. हैन. अनि अब I was molested for quite a long time. Oh my God. For a few years until I realized that I was being molested. So I was very young. And these things happen, especially in our patriarchic society. As I do deeper digging, it happens to families where a father figure is not strong. So I came from a matriarchic family, नै भनौँ, and अलिकति emotionally strong अथवा resilient अथवा more forthcoming father figure छैन भने you're more vulnerable to being assaulted, harassed or abused or molested in your childhood. And that is a fact. Research has proven it. हैन. So त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि I think त्यो एउटा पाटोले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ म झन् vulnerable भएँ. म चाहिँ त्यो फन्दामा पढ्न गएँ. I was, and they're often the closest people, the people we trust. Perpetrators जहिले पनि are the people that we trust blindly. हैन. अब त्यसपछि जनचेतना कसरी फैलाउने भन्दाखेरि हामीले अहिले बोलेर नै हो. अब हामीले हाम्रो लागि लड्न त सकेनौँ किनभने इट्स फार गन, देयर इज नो प्रुफ, नो विटनेसेस. आई क्यान ओन्ली स्पिक अप अबाउट इट. अनि कति कुरा कति घाउ कोटाउन पनि मन लाग्दैन कि. And I've rejected that part of me. I've abandoned it and I've just healed myself and just come out of it, which is not a nice thing to do because it creeps up. So अहिलेको जेनेरेसनको बालबालिकाहरूले यहाँ हेरिरहनु भएको छ, भाइ बहिनीले हेरिरहनु भएको छ, अथवा मभन्दा माथिकै जेनेरेसनको बुर्जकहरू हुनुहुन्छ भने पनि I would tell them, please speak up and please confide in the right people, get therapy, get resolution, एउटा healing processमा जानुस्. Even if you do not get these people behind the bars, you always have to protect your energy and preserve yourself.
Talking about हजुरले जे कुरा गर्नुभयो हैन it is so hard to speak up like पहिला एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्थ्यो यो यस्तो कुराहरू बोल्न अरूलाई भन्न इभन हाम्रो प्यारेन्ट्सहरूलाई पनि मलाई यस्तो हुँदैछ भनेर सुनाउन पनि एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ एन्ड आई बिलिभ कतिजना लेडिजहरू कतिजना गर्ल्सहरू हेभ बिन मोलेस्टेड इन एकदमै यङ्गर एजमा क्या वेयर दे थट द्याट म चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा सेफ छु भन्ने ठाउँमा त्यही ठाउँमा सेफ हुँदैन सो अहिले त दे आर डिफ्रेन्ट रिसोर्सेस है जहाँ चाहिँ अब दे क्यान गो फर हेल्प you know there are lots of hotlines and everything there are people whom they can share their stuff and tell that these are the things that is going wrong भनेर उनीहरूले अहिले त्यो रिसोर्सेसहरू छ जस्तो लाग्छ तपाईलाई के लाग्छ त्यो कुरामा
त्यो रिसोर्सेस छ त्यसलाई कसरी युज गर्ने र त्यसको ब्याकल्याश कसरी म्यानेज गर्ने जस्तो देयर आर वुमेन सो मेनी करेजेस बहिनीहरू or women who've come out with their stories of being harassed being raped and so on but yet there's this reflection sort of going towards them and blaming them instead and that causes a lot of stress so do I vocalize do I come out with it or do I keep it a secret or just keep it a very strictly private court case or police case त्यो कुरामा पनि परिन्छ कि सो कति जनाले भनेर पनि समस्याको हल भन्दा झनै नयाँ नयाँ समस्या नयाँ नयाँ बादल खडा हुने भएर चाहिँ त्यो मेसमा पर्दै नपुरु भनेर मान्छेहरूले बरु बोल्नै नचाहने हो के अनि त्यो धेरै नै हुन्छ त्यही भएर आई थिङ्क आफ्नो इनर सर्कलमा आमा बाबु हुनुहुन्छ नि स्पेसली हामी भन्दा माथिको एज अब मिलेनियल्स भन्दा माथिको हाम्रो बेबी बुमर्स एज ग्रुपको आमा बुवाहरू उहाँहरूले चाहिँ अब टिकटक धेरै माध्यमहरू अहिले सिक्ने माध्यम पनि धेरै छ नि त त्यही भएर चाहिँ यस्तो कुराहरूको जनचेतना लिएर शिक्षा लिएर चाहिँ आफ्नो छोराछोरीहरूलाई बारम्बार यस्तो विषयमा सोध्ने अनि अटुट एउटा कन्फिडेन्सका साथ सपोर्ट गर्ने अनसेकन वेमा के किनभने अब कसैले ब्राइब गर्न होला कसैले धम्की देला त्यो डरले पनि मान्छेले बिकज अफ द फियर अफ बिङ ब्लेम्ड फियर अफ सफरिङ फियर अफ नट गेटिङ द जस्टिस किनभने त्यही त हो नि ब्युरोक्रेटिक सोसाइटीमा गएर कम्प्लेन्ट हाल्दा पनि भोलि न्याय पाउँछु पाउँदिन भन्ने कुरामा त धेरै नै प्रश्न चिन्ह लागेको छ नि त त्यही कारणले चाहिँ हामी बल्झिरहेको छौँ कि अनि नयाँ पुस्ताले पनि बोलेर त्यत्रो करेज देखाउँदाखेरि जस्टिस दिने ठाउँमा एउटा न्यायाधीशकोमा पुगुन्जेलसम्म पनि न्याय नपाउँदाखेरि अब भनौँ न तपाईँको विटनेसका कुराहरू फिडल हुने कति कुराहरू अब अटोप्सीको कुराहरू पनि रिपोर्ट्सहरू स्केची हुने त्यो सबै कुराहरू भइरहेछ नि त धाँधली भइरहेछ नि त त्यही भएर न्याय नपाउने भन्ने डरले यो सबै वेस्टमा जाला भनेर मान्छेले त्यो पहिलो कदम पनि चाल्न चाहिँ बन्द गर्छ कि अनि गुम्सिएर बस्नुपर्ने वातावरण हुन्छ अनि त्यसले के हुन्छ यु सेल्फ sabotage यु सेल्फ हार्म एन्ड अल्टिमेटली गो टु अ ब्रिङ्क अफ कमिटिङ सुसाइड or taking really major steps that could be devastating for your life.
So हजुरको पर्सपेक्टिभ अनुसार इट सुड अल स्टार्ट फ्रम द फ्यामिली वे वुमनहरू चाहिँ सेफ हुनु पर्यो उनीहरूलाई एडुकेट गर्नु पर्यो त्यो कुराहरूमा द्याट यो कुरा राम्रो होइन गुड टच ब्याड टचको बारेमा एडुकेसन दिनु पर्यो या सो या इट अल स्टार्ट्स फ्रम द फ्यामिली राइट सो as we are talking about, you know, women and womenको safety, what do you think, like in compared to Nepal and UK, womenहरू चाहिँ कहाँ चाहिँ अलिक धेरै सेफ छ होला?
That's a very tricky question, actually, because it's a very, you know, there's a thing about wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
त्यो चाहिँ आई थिङ्क एक किसिमको भाग्यको कुरा पनि हो वुमेन आर नट सेफ एनिवेयर मलाई त्यस्तै लाग्छ आई थिङ्क हामी यस्तो एउटा स्पिसिस हो जुन चाहिँ क्रिस्टल भाजमा प्रोटेक्ट गरेर राख्नुपर्ने बट वेआर सो भनरेबल टु अल सोर्ट्स अफ ओपिनियन्स हामी वेआर नट जस्ट बिङ हार्मड बाई लाइक फिजिकल असल्ट ओर molestation or like attack or something. We're being attacked on a daily basis in terms of how we're perceived, in terms of how we're being judged. So I think every woman is built in for flight or fight mode. किनभने जहिले पनि लड्नु नै पर्ने देखिरहेको छु कि मैले झन् आमा भइसकेपछि त होइन मलाई मान्छेले म मेरो परिवार सामु पनि यस्तो छुच्चो भइसक्यो होइन एन्ड आई थिङ्क टु माइसेल्फ ममा नै खराबी हो त म नै यस्तै भएर गएको हो कि त्यस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई तर लड्नु पर्ने नै वातावरण एन्ड इभन इन इङ्ग्लिस सोसाइटी or वेस्टर्न सोसाइटी women are always fighting. The only thing अब हामीले फेमिनिस्टिक पर्सपेक्टिभबाट हेर्ने हो भने there is two types of feminism. एउटा neo feminism छ. But neo-feminism is probably arguments around women getting the same remuneration as a man. That's the sort of challenges a Western society has. First is in deep trenches or deeper villages of Nepal or Asian countries or Africa and so on, it's about survival. It's about whether I will be burnt alive and whether someone will pour kerosene on me because my parents are not able to pay the second lot of dowry. So the levels of feminism that we're at, tier 1, tier 2, different evolution of feminism. Whereas I think Asian women like you and myself, we're bridging both levels of feminism, both types of philosophy. Whereas घरमा मैले बोल्न पाउँछु कि पाउँदिन, मैले बोल्दाखेरि म राम्रो मान्छे, राम्रो छोरी, राम्रो बुहारीमा गनिन्छु कि गनिन्दिन, versus at work, do I represent myself as a strong woman and do I get paid equally as the male counterpart?
Wow, yeah.
अनि त्यो डाइकोटोमी जुन चाहिँ हामी नेपाली केटी मान्छेहरूले झेलिरहेछौँ नि, I feel like that's a deeper dichotomy because we have to manage the complexities around being a social counterpart of a Nepali society and also residing in a very progressive society where women are stepping up their game in terms of voting rights, in terms of their legacy in business and entrepreneurship and rights in general. It's quite a lot to take.
It's quite a lot to take. Junsani Nepali society here and the way we Asian are trying to manage both of it. It's quite hard. So Pepper, as a mother and as IVF educator, what are the challenges that you have faced? As you already mentioned me that, you know, you have been going through the challenges like ama bhaisepasi also there challenges or face garnu paryo. So what are those challenges that you have been facing?
So I think let's start with the journey of trying to conceive. Ama भन्नु अगाडि there's a journey of trying to conceive. अब पहिला छिटो बिहा गरिन्थ्यो. Everything was in a romantic or sort of love bubble phase and सबै कुरा छिटो हुन्थ्यो बच्चा बच्ची and so on. सबै तिम्रो puppy love चलिरहेको एकदम when romance is in there and so on. अब अहिले we're very calculated. Women want to ensure that they have proper careers, they're educated and they take everything, all of their decisions one thing at a time. सबैको त्यो हुन्छ भन्ने पनि छैन, but तिम्रो story was different and you've come out to be this strong, amazing mother after raising 2 amazing boys, हैन? So my story is slightly different. मैले चाहिँ म बिहा अलि commitment in a love relationship अलि अगाडि सुरु गरेको भएर I knew I didn't want to have a child early in my life. I knew I wanted to fix my career. I knew I wanted to be stable and I knew I didn't want to rely on my husband or anybody else before I have a baby. So we started trying really late, round about when I was 34 or something. And that was a time where I reached a pinnacle in my career and I felt safe. I felt like I could provide for my child and so on. So I got pregnant fairly quickly, as soon as we sort of started to try. No complications. My first pregnancy sort of ended up with a miscarriage. Then I had a second pregnancy with twins, and that sort of ended closer to my 12 weeks, and I went through a DNC, which is surgery to sort of take out the fetus. Fetus भन्नु पर्दो रहेछ, but they're not babies until they're born भन्ने पनि एउटा philosophy छ. It was a very traumatic experience for me. The challenges around motherhood is obviously you have your timeline. The society expects you to go as per their timeline. So there's a lot of noise that is getting built around. So you're having to deal with that in the process of trying to conceive. When your mind has to be at peace, your body has to be in synchronicity, you need to be comfortable, you need to really rule your body, to create the next generation, to create the little you. It's a sacred process. You don't want any impurity or any rush, any toxicity coming towards you. But as a woman, you're going to get that. Especially in a Nepali society, you're going to get that. And Zhan miscarriages ko kuraharu, when I started to become open about it, I think there's due to the stigma around female fertility and how all of the notion is invested towards female infertility. Sochincha ki infertility is directly linked to a woman not being able to have a child. There is zero awareness about male infertility. When Nepali society ma demographically herne ho bhane, it accounts up to 40 to 50% of infertility in general. And Nepal ma pani there are over 15 to 20% recorded cases of infertility out of all the couples oile someone could test on sir. That I think there's more. You know why? Because people don't speak up about it. Because बोल्ने बित्तिकै के हुन्छ ए फलानुको ढिस्कानुको छोरीले अथवा वाइफले चाहिँ यसको त समस्या छ रे यसले बच्चा पाउन सक्दैन रे यसले बच्चै पाएको छैन भन्ने हुन्छ के. But मेरो केसमा के थियो भने roles reversed. It was because of this certain genetic anomaly on my husband's side. But the message I was receiving constantly before any diagnosis was that I was incapable of bearing a child. And that's when you've lost your potential children and they're in the stars, that is a very difficult emotion to process, because you internalize that as your incompetence and you not being able to lead the next generation of your family. Ani ekdam painful कुरा हो. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ there was a lot of burden on me to investigate what was happening, and I didn't let that stop me, because I was like, female fertility ko kura ke huncha bhane it is directly kind of linked to your mums or your maternal aunties or maternal parents ko chai parents nabhanu mother ko grandmother or your mother's fertility journey as well. And my mother have had a very healthy fertility journey. So that was the first speculation I had. Second, continuous ekdam chito conception hune, त्यसपछि miscarriage hune भनेपछि I was like, something's not right. I need to investigate this further. But NHS being NHS, and तिम्रो first episode मा पनि मैले एकजना दिजुको revelation देखेको थिएँ. NHS really prolongs the whole diagnostic process. That didn't help for an eager mom who was around a biological clock. I'm sorry, there is a biological clock for us. And you have to accept it, because as you go through the process, you will realize timro egg quality deplete huncha, timro ovarian reserve haru kam hunदै जान्छ, and so on. So I was really pressured to get to the bottom of why this was happening. So luckily, I found great support from Nepal, great comfort from Nepal with the experts, and I connected with the right people. Mero friends who are Nepali, most of them in my closer circle have resorted to IVF, and they've got beautiful babies now. So we investigated, and we went through the IVF route. But overall, it was one of the darkest periods in my life. I think motherhood has been very bright and very dark at the same time for me. Yeah.
Oh my God. Pepper, oh my God, your story, it's it's giving me a goosebumps. It's way too much to, take it all at all at a time.
I sometimes feel like you feel guilty because it's like, have I been the victim all this time? The story victim centric but for some that is the reality. I've accepted my reality and I'm moving on. But I hope this chapter can be a learning for somebody else, and I don't want people to take pity on me. I don't want a pity party. But what I want is somebody to take a leaf out of my book and change their trajectory. And after I've done IVF, I can proudly say that I've supported over 10 women directly from my circle to go into that journey. And they've all come with different complexities, female, male infertility or joint sort of complications and so on.
So talking about, you spoke about you losing your twin baby. I even got to know about it, also on social media, but I got to know about it. It might have been so hard for you. Even early kura garna it's definitely hard. There are, for all those mother who is looking to this podcast,
Yeah.
हैन जसले हेरिराख्नु भएको छ, जसले कन्सिभ गर्न ट्राई गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ, there are lots of women नि त
Yeah.
जसले ट्राई गर्दै
Yeah.
हुनुहुन्छ. So what would you like to tell those women?
Yeah.
Mother, like who wants to be a mother?
I would like to address this to the entire women. I think starting from your late teenage group, whoever is watching, first thing that you have to do is you have to go for your gynecology appointments regularly.
Yeah.
Always get your like ovarian test done properly. About certain ages or like the scans are not sort of promoted or encouraged and so on. But eventually हाम्रो अब युकेमा the smear test देखि लिएर सबैको provisionहरू छ. Smear test is basically test for cancer and so on, हैन. So सानो एउटा कुरा यसो insert गरेर vaginal testहरू गर्ने हो. You should always make sure that you look at your lifestyle and you go for those regular checks. Then after 20s cross गर्ने बित्तिकै, depending on what your plan is, whether or not you have a plan of conceiving, I think it's important to look at your reproductive health. हैन. So regular checks and scans, आफ्नो ovarian reservesहरू हेराएर राख्नुस्. If you're planning to get married or be in a relationship or have children 10 years or even a year or 20 years down the line, make sure you have this difficult conversation with your partner, where your partner, whether they're female, male counterparts, get their reproductive cycle or reproductive sort of health tested as well. And oily packages are being introduced by that. Globally, you have like couples packages. Sathilai euta maybe holiday getaway ko gift marriage ko belama dinu sata, give them a package to get their reproductive tests done. That gives you comfort knowing that your health, your lifestyle is on par with what your plans are, so that there's no surprises or shocks at the end of the process when you're trying to conceive. Because trying to conceive can be quicker for lucky ones, but it can be a very tedious and long process. NHS ले त एक वर्ष तपाईले ट्राई नगरुन्जेलसम्म तपाईको कुनै कम्प्लिकेसन छ भने पनि हेर्दैन हैन. So lucky for us that we have expertise in Nepal, that we can go and get it done. As a report आउँछ. So if there's someone watching from Nepal, please use the resources, the clinics, all the fertility clinics that you've got, and go and get yourself checked out. मेरो चाहिँ first process त्यही भन्छु. अनि आफ्नो occupation पनि हेरौँ, आफ्नो consumption of tech पनि हेरौँ. जस्तो अब using gadgets is directly linked to the level of sort of semen reducing in men as well. I know, just the higher the temperature or working conditions are for men, just so khadi ma janu bhayeko, golf ma janu bhayeko हाम्रो पुरुषहरूले चाहिँ धेरै नै infertility challenges हरु deal गर्नुहुन्छ, because they're working in agricultural farms, high radiation भएको radioactive area हरुमा पनि काम गर्नुहुन्छ. That reduces their semen flow, that results in poor semen count and so on, हैन. So त्यस्तो कुराहरुलाई observe गरेर आफ्नो lifestyleहरु निहालेर अहिलेदेखि नै they need to take the right steps. And for women too, आफ्नो PCOS होला अथवा regular menstrual cycleहरु नहोला, ovarian reserve कम होला, त्यसलाई मैले कसरी ट्याकल गर्ने भनेर यो कुरा चाहिँ proactively आफूले म्यानेज गर्नुपर्छ. कसैको responsibility मा छोड्ने कुरा हैन. This is your body, it's your temple, and you recognize the patterns in your body. अनि नभए तापनि नडराउनुस्, because you know IVF has been there for God knows over I think 1970s देखि यो process सुरु भयो, and it took 10-15 years for the first IVF baby to be even born, and it started from the UK. So you're in the perfect country for solution to be optimized. And vice versa in Nepal, it's evolving so quickly in terms of medical healthcare and support.
Yeah. So education system मा reproductive health कतिको important छ होला त यो context मा?
एकदम नै important छ नि, हैन. The more अब यो हामीहरु तिमीलाई याद छ कि छैन, when we were kids, हाम्रो यो social studies कै part मा चाहिँ sexual health को कुराहरु पनि आउँथ्यो, अनि क्लासमा खिटका छोडेर हाँस्ने. Because of the way we're engineered, there's अलिकति shame in talking about these things, or there's a notion that you have to be a little shy or embarrassed, especially women. You cannot be so forth and out outcoming with these type of questions or inquisitivity and so on. So पहिलो त्यो कुरा भयो. अहिले त I think kids are woke, like the pop woke हुन्छ नि, they know about mental health.
Yeah, they do.
They're learning so much. So राम्रो पनि छ, and they're starting to proactively think about their bodies, their mental health. So I hope reproductive health is also going to be on their agenda. And syllabusहरुमा त introduce गराएर proactively communities, there should be अब ओडा ward अनुसार there should be campaigns happening. छ सानो माध्यममा छ, but they're not larger campaigns, and they're not vocalized publicly. I think it should be a vocal thing, using contraceptives, getting your regular checkups, women sort of doing their tests for breast cancer, vaginal cancer, and so on. त्यस्तो कुराहरु चाहिँ regularly enforce हुनुपर्छ from a regulatory side जस्तो पनि लाग्छ. And hospitals too, I think they have an obligation. Doctors, medical experts, and so on. Whether they get money out of it or not, advocacy is a key part of medical industry. I know. So I think they have to be liable, because तिमीले औषधि बेच्छौ भने, as a pharmaceutical too, you should be able to reason, you should be able to rationalize, you should be able to educate, advocate for people who are suffering from certain conditions. Because if you're using a cancer, you're a pharmaceutical selling a cancer med, you need to do a lot of advocacy around raising awareness for cancer and how you can mitigate that, or how you can manage cancer and so on. Okay? So एउटा corporate social responsibility को कुरा हो जस्तो लाग्छ. It's a communal effort.
Yeah, it is. So talking about context of Nepal नै है, नेपालकै context मा कुरा गरौँ, because we are kind of lagging behind क्या. नेपालको context मा चाहिँ over here it's like more developed, more advanced and everything. People are well educated in this very, sector. तर नेपालको कन्टेक्स्टमा still girlsहरु sanitary padsहरु लिन जाँदाखेरि न्युजपेपरमा र्याप गरेर दिने, या still अहिले पनि छ क्या. सो त्यस्तो छ still. अब हुन्छ नि menstrual cycle को बारेमा ओपनली कुरा हुँदैन, periods को बारेमा त्यति साह्रो ओपनली कुरा हुँदैन, periods cramp को बारेमा हुँदैन, mood swings को बारेमा हुँदैन. People wrap their pads on the newspaper, mostly shopkeepers, they give it. त्यस्तो छ नेपालमा. त्यसमा पेपरलाई what do you want to say?
अब सुरु गरौँ छौपादीको कुरा. Let's go with this. Start with the extreme. छौपादी banned भयो, I think a few years ago in Nepal, but still in practice in the remote areas. रुकुम डोल्पा हुकुम धेरै ठाउँहरुमा चाहिँ अझ पनि छौपादीको चलन छ. यसले गर्दा it's leading to deaths of many younger women. They are falling victim to wildlife, like predators हरु आएर बाघ भालुले हमला गरेर खाने वर्ने. They're falling prey to men assaulting them while they're being isolated in a very cramped up shelter पनि नभनौँ, it's a cage, it's a jail for women. सो अहिलेसम्म पनि त्यसको आवाज हामीले कति अब वुमेन लेड च्यारिटिजहरु अथवा च्यारिटिजहरुले यो विषयमा आवाज उठाउनु भएको छ, तर अझ पनि गाउँ र दुर्गम क्षेत्रमा हामीले इनफ गर्न सकेका छैनौं. अब आयो अलिकति पार्शियली सिभिलाइज्ड नेपाली सोसाइटी, किनभने म फुल्ली सिभिलाइज्ड भन्दिनँ, बिकज सिभिलाइज भएको भए त त्यो प्रथा हामीले छौपादी यो नछुने बार्ने भन्ने अथवा परसरेको बार्ने भन्ने त हामीले कहिले पनि फलो गर्दैन थियो होला. यो सुरुमा निस्केको कारण के हो भने महिलाहरूले पहिले खेतबारी सबै कुरा गर्ने. हामीहरू 80-90% एग्रिकल्चरली डिपेन्डेन्ट कन्ट्री भएको हिसाबले टालो, कपडा, स्यानिटरी प्याड्सको व्यवस्था नहुँदाखेरि त्यो 3-4 दिन रगतताम्य भएर त कोही खेतमा काम गर्न जाँदैन नि त. त्यो 4 दिन आराम गर. You're cleansing yourself, your body is detoxing yourself. Similar things around मन्दिर घुम्ने जाने नजाने भन्दाखेरि त्यो यस्तो प्योर साइकल हो नि एउटा केटी मान्छेको शरीरमा. Imagine your body detoxing yourself. You don't need to meditate. You don't need to be going for yoga or some sort of pranic healing or something. Your body is doing that once a month. That process is divine. It's pure. So त्यो कुरालाई चाहिँ लिएर म यदिगरी म आफै डिभाइन छु, ममा भगवानले गरिरहने एउटा कर्म भइरहेछ भने म मन्दिरमा गएर त्यो म्याग्नेटिक फिल्डमा मैले आफूलाई गएर क्लेन्ज गर्ने आवश्यकतै छैन त्यो 4 दिन त्यसलाई म नकारात्मक वेमा लिदिनँ थिएँ कि तर त्यसलाई बढाइ चढाइ अहिले हामीले एकदम we've blown it out of proportion कार्पेटमा छोए पनि यहाँबाट त्यहाँ भए पनि if you're on your reds you can't touch you can't go in a certain room रे पूजा गर्न नहुने त्यो त मेरो चाहनाको कुरा त्यो त मेरो फुल अटोनोमीको कुरा हो म आफैलाई पूजा गरिरहेको छु त्यो 4 दिन I shouldn't be worshipping anybody. म चाहिँ त्यस्तो सो हिन्दू कल्चरले हामीलाई त्यो सिकाए पनि त्यो संस्कारले हामीलाई सिकाए पनि म पोजिटिभली लिन्छु सो म इच्छासहित म मन्दिर जाँदिनँ बिकज आई एम डिभाइन आई एम सो पावरफुल एट द्याट टाइम वेयरएज अब त्यो माल प्र्याक्टिसेस चाहिँ के छ भने खाना पकाउन नदिने पूजापाठ गर्न नदिने इभन टाढै बसेर पनि फेस्टिभिटिजहरूमा इन्भल्भ हुन नदिने कोठाभित्र छिर्न नदिने एकदम बकवास कुरा वाहियात कुरा जस्तो लाग्छ ठेट नेपालीमा भन्नु पर्दाखेरि एन्ड आई हेभ ह्याड rows, I have had major arguments with my close family members. Like, I have really strong educated women in my family and I really pride that. तर उहाँहरूले त्यो कुरा प्र्याक्टिसमा ल्याउनुहुन्छ कि अनि उहाँहरू पनि देयर भिक्टिम अफ देयर अपब्रिङ्गिङ अनि एउटा फोर्स अफ ह्याबिट जस्तो पनि हुने रहेछ हामी वेयर क्रिएचर्स अफ ह्याबिट हामीलाई जे सिकाए त्यही गर्नु पनि अब आमा बुबाले त्यो दिएको संस्कार नगर्दाखेरि ओहो पितृले नै सराप कि भन्ने पनि एउटा हुँदो रहेछ सो त्यस्तो चाहिँ नसोचौँ होइन अब तिमीले मैले नै यो प्र्याक्टिसमा चेन्ज ल्याउने हो भोलि आफ्नो छोराछोरी भयो भने वी वोन्ट डु इट होइन अब बाँकीको पुस्ताहरूलाई सम्झाउन सक्ने अवस्थामा सम्झाउने तर आफू चाहिँ आफूले त्यो कुरालाई सेमको रूपमा लिनु भएन यो प्रोसेस चाहिँ एकदम राम्रो प्रोसेस हो इट्स डिटक्सिङ माई बडी एन्ड आइ एम सो ग्ल्याड मेरो बडीले यस्तो मुन साइकल ओबे गरिरहेछ हाउ डिभाइन आई एम भनेर चाहिँ हामीले त्यो लिनुपर्छ भन्नेले भन्दै जान्छ सबैको बोली चाहिँ टालेर बस्न
सकिँदैन भन्छ नि के राम्रो गर्दा नराम्रो त मान्छेले भन्छ भन्ने त उहाँहरूको कामै हो ठिक कुरा भन्नुभयो सो ह्याभिङ रेजिङ लाइक 2 बोइज है अब यो पिरियड साइकलको कुरा गर्दाखेरि म पनि उनीहरूलाई भन्छु क्या मेरो बडीबाट ब्लड गइरहेको छ आई निड रेस्ट आई टेल देम ताकि उनीहरू पछि फ्युचरमा ग्रो अप भइसकेपछि इफ दे हेभ देयर गर्ल्स अर गर्लफ्रेन्ड्स अर वाइफ इन फ्युचर दे गेट टु नो अबाउट द प्रब्लम होइन हामी गो थ्रु गरिरहेको त्यो नलेज दिन चाहिँ एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ जस्तो लाग्छ सो इन यर फ्यामिली इट्स सो इम्पोर्टेन्ट फर a woman herself to start teaching that to the upbringing. त्यो कुरामा तपाईं के भन्नुहुन्छ?
No, absolutely. That's correct. मेरो त झन् I had a major exam when I first came on my period. And it was so daunting. And sorry for the graphic sort of description, but I looked in my undergarment and I saw this like really dark, like really disgusting color, like some sort of extract, you know. I thought मलाई त क्यान्सर भएछ भन्ने कि एन्ड आई वेन्ट टु माई मम्मी मम्मी मलाई त एउटा कुरा देखाउनु पर्यो हजुरलाई मलाई त क्यान्सर भए जस्तो छ भन्यो कि एन्ड सी इज लाइक नो नानी अब तिमी नछुनी आई डोन्ट लाइक द्याट टर्म बट तिमी नछुनी भएको हो अब पर सर्यो तिमी अब तिमीलाई अब नेवारहरूले चाहिँ गुफा भनेर भन्छ अब म बाहुन कल्चरमा भएर हामी पनि यस्तै 11-12 दिन हजुर
समथिङ लाइक गुन्युचोली आउँछ त्यो
गुन्युचोलो चाहिँ अगाडि नै हुन्छ द्याट इज वेलकमिङ अडोलेसेन्स गुन्युचोलो चाहिँ अगाडि नै हुन्छ द्याट्स जस्ट अ सेरेमनी फर प्युबर्टी प्युबर्टी तर त्यो गुफा राख्ने जस्तै चल्यो नि बाहुनहरूको पनि हुन्छ सो 10-11 दिन कोठासुरा थुनेर अँध्यारो बनाएर केटा मान्छे कोही पनि भेट्न नपाइकन चाहिँ हामीले पुरै त्यो प्रचलन छ मेरो चाहिँ इक्जाम्स थियो सो माई मम वाज क्वाइट स्ट्रङ इन सेङ द्याट you're only going to do a few days of this and you need to go for your exam so 10-11 दिन अथवा 9 दिन कति दिन मैले त बिर्सि पनि सके so that's how less significant it has become to me because मलाई एकदम unnecessary लाग्छ अनि मैले चाहिँ 4-5 दिन हो कि कति मात्र गरेर अनि सानो एउटा रिचुअलिस्टिक सेरेमनी गरेर चोखाउने भनेर त्यो प्युरिटी फर्ममा लगेर चाहिँ एउटा सानो सेरेमनी भयो प्रिस्ट लिएर आएर घरमा अनि त्यो गर्यो सो द्याट हाम्रो आमुहरूको जेनेरेसनको लागि द्याट वाज अ बिग स्टेप फर हर सो स्टेप बाई स्टेप हुने हो एकैचोटि बन्द पनि हुँदैन बट इट अलवेज स्टार्ट्स एट होम यु हेभ टु ब्रिङ थिङ्स होम घर आफ्नो सेफ्टी प्लेस अफ सेफ्टी भनेकै घर हो सो त्यहीबाट सबै कुरा मेकिङ चेन्जेस इन्सपायरिङ चेन्ज भन्ने कुरा नै आई थिङ्क इट अल कम्स फ्रम होम
आई वाज क्वाइट अनअवेयर यो गुफा सिस्टम चाहिँ हुन्छ भनेर किनभने मैले न्युयोर्क कल्चरमा मात्रै सुन्दै आएको थिएँ होइन सो इट्स क्वाइट न्यू टु मी इट्स न्यू थिङ इन लर्निङ भनौँ न ओके सो
मेरो त रुम पुरै डार्क थियो पुरै पर्दा सर्दा लगाएर इभन न्युज पेपरले टालिदिएर दे डार्क इन द रुम सूर्य भगवानलाई देख्नु हुँदैन भनेर बिकज सूर्य भगवान पनि फेरि म्यास्कुलिन फिगर भयो नि त सो केटा मान्छे हेर्नु नहुने अरे बट यु नो यु रिचिङ यो utmost feminine stage because you're fertile now. I think that was just the society's way of saying you have to be careful because if you now get involved with men, you will conceive. That's my understanding.
Yeah. So, हाम्रो culture, हाम्रो tradition, जे पनि छ है, it's giving somehow, I'm like, कुनै तरिकाले नलेज दिइरहेको हुन्छ क्या
very logical.
Yeah, it's so logical.
सनातन धर्म त झनै logical लाग्छ कि बुद्धिज्म हरेक धर्ममा लजिक हुन्छ तर त्यो लजिकले हामीले कतिसम्म एम्प्लिफाई गर्ने र कस्तो प्र्याक्टिसमा ल्याउने भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हामीमा डिपेन्डेन्ट हुन्छ कि
एक्ज्याक्टली
हैन
So Peppa, how have you been managing तिम्रो personal life, हजुरको personal life, हजुरको motherhood and your professional career?
That's a very interesting question. I don't know how I'm managing. So my baby is 13 months now.
Yeah.
And honestly, this has not been a pleasant time for me. And I have no regrets in saying that. And I'm sorry, I might not encourage other women towards the journey of motherhood. Let's face the facts. Being a mother is the most divine, most rewarding thing in the planet, but it can also invite the most darkest time for you and in your life, in your journey. So mero lagi it started with an identity crisis to begin with. And I started to question like what is my role as a mother? How first few months I think pregnancy was a lot more positive than postpartum journey for me. Although I had the trauma of IVF and so on, I was just happy that I'm pregnant. I'm finally going to be a mother. Whereas your time saying, your support system dictates how happy of a mother you are. Mero lagi that has been the biggest factor. And I think मैले support पाएर पनि मलाई support नभएको अनुभूति चाहिँ मलाई भयो. And then certain things happen in course of my postpartum journey where म एकदम भनौँ न इमोसनली फिजिकली एन्ड फाइनेन्सियली एन्ड सपोर्ट वाइज पनि एकदम vulnerable भएँ. So I felt like I was the only provider for my child. I have to provide for him emotionally, physically, financially, and in all other ways. That put a lot of burden on a healing mom. हुन्छ नि मेरो त्यो एउटा cycle of chaos began from 4th or 5th week of after having Sash. हुन्छ नि and it's been a really chaotic, very confusing journey. When I gave birth to Sash, I gave birth to the new me.
Yes.
And I was grieving the old me. हैन and not knowing how to balance the dichotomy between being this independent woman and then the new mom who is sort of restricted physically. She's homebound. She's isolated. मैले भन्छु नि I speak to my friends about motherhood के यस्तो motherhood भनेको त वारमा गएको जस्तै हो के deprived of अब support पाएन भने you're deprived of good nutrition, sleep, हैन and you're isolated and you feel out of this society and you're not a part. What does that do? That creates a lot of isolation, confusion, and that creates paranoia. And that brings out a flight or fight mode in women. And these are weapons of war. के हुन्छ वारमा पनि के गर्छ they starve people or they deprive them of nutrition, lack of sleep, lack of basic resources, lack of understanding, and तिमी suddenly survival mode मा जान्छौ. And you become very edgy as a person. Then you start to behave in the ways that you don't think is normal, and you're angry, you're frustrated, you're infuriated, you cannot handle what's going on between you and your support network and so on. So mero lagi motherhood, I'm still going through that journey. I'm seeking therapy now because I found it very difficult. And it's put a lot of challenge with me and between me and the people who are trying to support me. But having said that, मेरो reality कस्तो भयो भने I had support at the last leg of pregnancy and the first 2 months after Shash was born. त्यसपछि 2 months देखि बाबु 8 महिना हुन्जेलसम्म it was just me and my husband looking after the baby. टोइलेट जाँदा पनि बाबु समातेर आफै गर, पकाउन पनि आफै गर, बच्चा छ घरमा. I have 3 cats.
Oh my God.
And then I've been the most busiest after I've given birth. I had multiple projects. I took on more than what I should have. And that's also me not being aware that how much physically and emotionally I will be bound after I have a child. Because you're navigating this rush of emotion. Suruko first 2-3 months, it goes on high. Because you're high. Like, timla anesthesia le garda feri. त्यसले गर्दा त you're like, boom! You're on top of the world. And then 3rd, 4th month पछि चाहिँ the lack of sleep, the sleep deprivation creeps in and all sorts of things come into your mind and you're overburdened. अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ you just go psychotic. I wouldn't say I went psychotic, but I questioned, why don't I have help? Why don't I have my family giving me enough time or doing that for me? And then that's been a challenge. So, Nepal I got a little bit of support, and I'm so grateful for the support because मैले अस्ति पनि mention गरेको that you have to be utterly grateful for the support that comes because people want to be validated in their relationship as well. But then mothers like पनि double validation चाहिन्छ भनेर चाहिँ कसैले बुझ्दैन के. And मान्छेले they make it about themselves, but then त्यो बेलामा it is fair for a mom to make it all about herself.
It is.
Because she's gone through so much hardship. She sacrificed her time, her body, her mind, her resources, her career, and so on. You know? So, हाम्रो societyमा चाहिँ त्यो awareness छैन. And then I used to, when I tried to stand my ground on certain aspects of motherhood, and I say, look, I'm not happy about this thing or that thing, then even close family members, like, oh, postpartum, that's all you talk about. That's your excuse for behaving this way. But I don't know why I'm behaving this way because it's not the normal me. And I'm very emotionally, I think I would, you know what you're like emotionally. I think I'm emotionally intelligent and I've managed my life fairly well up until this point. But it's not a job of one person or 2 people. It's a village's work. A child has to be raised by a community. It's a communal effort. It's a collective effort. You need a village to raise a child. And I think त्यो accountability हामी सबैले राख्नुपर्छ. Not that I'm trying to say you need to look after my child. But त्यो naturally नि support network बाट आउनुपर्छ. अनि त्यो support तपाईले दिनु भयो भने पनि एउटा गर्भवती महिला, एउटा नयाँ आमालाई तपाईले त्यो help दिनु भएको छ भने पनि you cannot behave like you're doing someone a favor.
Yes. Oh my God.
And that is what really cut me deep. And त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि I've had to detach myself from my support network because I couldn't take the burden of being told that I was not doing enough as a mother. And I'm not a competent mother. Please do not question my integrity as a mother. Because I will do anything for my child.
Exactly. Yes.
I went to the brink of death and losing my body to be able to give this life, to present this life who you call so and so. तिमीलाई नाता लाउन त सजिलो छ नि तर त्यो नाताको भूमिका निभाउनलाई चाहिँ गाह्रो छ कि तर यो भन्दा पनि मैले I'm not being ungrateful. म धेरै धन्य छु जति मैले मद्दत पाएँ नि तर त्यो मद्दतले पुग्दैन रहेछ बाबा. I raise my hands. And I'm still in the first to second year of my motherhood journey. Babu भर्खर 1 वर्ष क्रस गर्यो. मलाई अझ मद्दत चाहिएको छ, काफी छैन. And I'm doing everything. I'm so exhausted. I want to financially पनि provide गर्नुपर्ने, emotionally पनि provide गर्नुपर्ने. You have not just one baby, multiple babies to look after.
जस्तो लाग्छ.
And I'm stretched thin. हुन्छ नि, you're hanging by a rope. And there's no shame in saying that. कुनै दिन नपरोस् तपाईहरुलाई यस्तो समस्या हैन तर कुनै दिन पर्छ पनि के. So let's not judge the women who are really struggling and who are raising their hands. And by me saying this, I'm not an incompetent mother. Because my baby is healthy, happy. And even though I went through all the difficulties and struggles and the pain of that IVF journey. It's not an easy journey.
It's not an easy journey.
And IVF गरिसकेपछि depression यो हुने chances पनि higher हुन्छ womenहरुमा. And maybe I am falling victim to that as well, but it's not to say that I won't come out of it. I will just need some time to heal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Nepali culture या जुनै पनि कल्चरमा है यस्तो अब woman who has just given birth to a baby should normalize the mood swings, the tantrums from a mother जस्तो लाग्छ
आफूले suppress गर्नुपर्ने के and soon as you let out your emotions हैन you're a bad person. Go in the naughty corner. You're not like this. You were not raised like this. तर मान्छे त्यो बर्न आउट पोजिसनमा त्यो बर्न आउट भएपछि के हुन्छ मान्छे ल्यास आउट हुन्छ अब म पागल भएँ है भन्ने हुन्छ कि मलाई चाहिँ त्यो एउटा स्टेजमा चाहिँ म पुगेको थिएँ पुगेको पनि छु पुगी पनि राख्छु बारम्बार पुगिरहेको छु म नरको दिनै हुँदैन आई क्राई एभ्री डे बट आई अल्सो स्माइल एन्ड आई हेभ द मोस्ट beautiful interaction with this new being who I'm creating, you know, a new life. Because that child is going to be a reflection of me, my husband, and the society I live in. So धेरै ठुलो काम छ है हाम्रो हातमा
धेरै ठुलो काम छ and I see the way you are nurturing Shash. Oh my god, you are teaching him to do things by him, हैन by him own. अब खुवाउन पनि उसले आफै खान पनि उसले सिकिसकेको छ नि त है मैले देखिरहेको थिएँ एउटा भिडियोमा पनि
त्यो इन्टरजेनेरेसनल ग्याप छ नि हाम्रो नेपाली सोसाइटीमा भर्स द ओल्ड वे अफ पेरेन्टिङ अब हामी ओल्ड वेमा पेरेन्टेड भयौँ भर्सेस द न्यू वे अब ओल्ड वेमा पेरेन्ट गर्न मन लाग्छ तर त्यो समय मसँग छैन नि त वेयरएज अब मोस्ट वुमेन ब्याक इन द डे डिडन्ट ह्याभ टु गो एन्ड गेट बी द ब्रेड विनर go and get a full-time job and juggle a work and raising a baby at the same time. They had sasu, sasura, didi, boini, they were deurani, aya, haina, काम गर्नेहरु पनि राख्न सजिलो थियो यहाँ त एक्सपेन्सिभ छ नि त लन्डनमा and you're having to juggle a full-time job and also be a full-time mom. त्यो त अति नै अन्याय नै इन्जस्टिसै हो नि त एउटा आमालाई. I can't do both. I'm sorry.
So have you ever felt like identity crisis type को हुन्छ नि
छैन त of course major identity crisis
हो हुन्छ नि अब नानीलाई टाइम दिन खोज्दाखेरि ए मैले मेरो यता करियरलाई मैले कम्प्रोमाइज गरिरहेको छु कि या करियरलाई टाइम दिन खोज्दा ए मैले यता नानीलाई कम्प्रोमाइज गरिरहेको छु कि भन्ने
तिमीलाई म प्राइम एक्जाम्पल दिन्छु मैले तिम्रो कुरा छिटो काटेँ सरी है नेपालमा गएको बेलामा यस्तो 2-3 घण्टा बाहिर गयो अथवा I had my own brand Pie Nepal. I launched a British kids wear brand in Nepal. त्यो पनि मेरो सर्भाइभल मोडमा मैले आफूलाई इन्कम जेनेरेट गर्नलाई गरे हो कि मलाई आनन्दले म बस्न सक्ने हुँदा म खुट्टा यसरी आनन्द खुट्टा पल्टाएर बस्थेँ खुट्टा मिच 10 जना मान्छे राखेर अयास गरेर बस्दै नि म but the fact that I went and done that I don't have a point to prove to anybody but I did that because I felt like I needed to I needed to provide, I needed to generate income. And few things happened because financially more compromised by because I didn't have a person supporting me, or other person supporting me. So म त्यो गर्नु स्वाभाविक थियो कि 2-3 घण्टा मैले आफूलाई चिया कफी खाएर साथीसँग गफ गर्न गए पनि बाबुलाई कहाँ छोडेर आएको बाबु छैन बच्चालाई छोडेको यति सानो बच्चालाई भनेर they would guilt trip you like you're liable to raise the child on your own 24/7 nights pani gera rati 3-4 choti pani utha and family say that they will support you but then yet when you go out you're being questioned as to why you're without your child ani ke bhancha bhane society le ke bhancha bhane you're excluded out of everything you just go sit back you be a mother and come back to us when you're happy and when you've done the job of mothering but I will be a mother up until I die now huncha ni so I can't just pack up being a mother and stop living my life and stop seeking that 1 hour of normality that gave me so much energy it pulled me out the brink of suicide that is what that 1 hour gives you
it does
that is what that hot shower does for you that is what that 5 minute of not reheating your coffee or tea in the microwave does for you. मैले बाबुलाई पाएदेखि मैले 1 कप चिया चाहिँ 2 चोटी माइक्रोवेभ नगरिकन खाएको छँदै पिएको छँदै छैन के and that just shows what my lifestyle is like now I'm on the go mode. त्यसमा मलाई कुनै पनि सङ्कोच छैन. I'm happy doing that, but this is my reality. So अलिकति empathize त गर्नुस्. And this is the story of 90% of women. So don't just expect us to be happy, come back when we're fit and fine. It's never going to be. The new normal is this. It's chaos. And it's a beautiful chaos. And please accept the hot mess we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I truly support you on this. And whatever you have said so far, एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ to raise that tiny little human, होइन एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ. I know that.
अब काम गरे पनि सुख छैन. काम नगरे पनि सुख छैन. एक घरै बसेर बच्चा हेरिरहेछ रे. काम गर्न गए बच्चालाई टाइमै दिन सकेको छैन.
Both ways you are like, the guilt trip ma पार्दिन्छ क्या.
Exactly.
So you do what's better for you.
Of course.
अनि
लड्नु परेन भन्ने. And then you start fighting. Because the narrative around what a woman should be is just so shallow. It keeps on changing as per people's comfort. And they're always यो misogyny भन्ने कुरा यति internalize भएको छ नि. जे गरे पनि केटी मान्छे नै खराब.
हो.
छोरा बिग्रे पनि खराब, लोग्ने बिग्रे पनि केटी मान्छेकै दोष, बच्चा बिग्रे पनि केटी मान्छेकै दोष.
त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै छ.
I am so done, man.
अनि talking about the journey that you have started back in Nepal, about Pio Nepal, है. हजुरले चाहिँ किन इनिसिएट लिनुभयो that you should do it in Nepal but not here भनेर?
Purely because म यत्तिकै खाली बस्न सक्ने मान्छे. So obviously, as you know, UK ko policy is you get 1 year mat leave, right? So I got made redundant. मेरो काम made me redundant whilst I was 4 months. Babu 4 महिना भएपछि my job made me redundant, which is not legal, but global circumstance ma when a company is going through a massive acquisition and mass redundancy ko case ma चाहिँ they're well within their rights to rule you out or take you out of your job. So I got a payment and so on, and then त्यसपछि त मलाई कस्तो भयो भने झनै identity crisis भयो. हो अब त career पनि छैन, काम पनि छैन, के गर्ने, खाली बस्न सक्ने मान्छे त हैन. Because since pregnancy I've had my job. I've worked as a product marketing manager and a cloud computing consultant for multiple years now. मेरो journey सधैँ tech marketing मा छ. I've had that career. Then I am leading a lot of community projects, including Pop-Up Nepal, which brings Nepali businesses together here in the UK, and हाम्रो सानोतिनो मेला अथवा जमघट जस्तो हुन्छ. So that's one part. Then I have other animal welfare led businesses, not businesses, sorry, charitable initiatives. And then I have Pio Nepal, which I launched as a result of me being a mother, because I realized maternity led and then kid-centric products were very scarce. On quality items or luxury items or it was very minimal. Okay, अनि पाए भने पनि नेपालमा एकदम out of stock छिटो भइदिने. So there's I targeted a niche sort of affluent market in Nepal to take on luxury products, British wear, kids, basic to luxury. You would get anything from M&S clothing wear, different kiddie products, to items for maternity, like perinatal bottles. I took on, I consolidated into a brand and called it Pio Nepal. So मलाई नेपाल 4-5 महिना बस्न मन थियो. And I wasn't sure whether I would come back, because I really vouched on the support I would get in terms of raising a child in Nepal. It didn't turn out to be that way. So मैले सोचिरहेको थिएँ that will be my legacy when I go on to Nepal, because I am a person who cannot stay static. I need to constantly be on the go mode. अनि मेरो ideas, my mind just bursts with a lot of ideas. That's about the blessing in disguise. A blessing and a curse at the same time, because I have so much enthusiasm के गर्नु भन्ने जोश हुन्छ. And त्यही जोशले चाहिँ नेपालमा I wanted to take good quality products. अनि मैले गरे पनि a lot of people loved what Pio Nepal had to offer. But त्यही pop-up को conceptलाई नै मैले embrace गरेर I created Pio Nepal, which was a temporary pop-up store. So every time I go there, that's my legacy. It gets kick-started as in when I'm there. But prior to all of these things that I did in Nepal, I've had a lot of experience doing multiple projects, even tech-centric projects in Nepal. 2019, me and my husband, we came up with AR and virtual reality tool. I know you guys have done something similar to that in Thapa. In 2019, yeah. 2019, so we had an AR and VR app which was designed to promote Nepal globally. 2020 was the year for bringing 2 million tourists in Nepal. It was the year for tourism. In Nepal अनि त्यो tourism board ले एउटा massive campaign announce गरेको थियो त्यसलाई हामीले pitch गरेर we went up to NDA stage as well and that immersive experience चाहिँ VR headset लगाएर अथवा तिमीले फोनमा डाउनलोड गरेर you would go into different destinations of Nepal and you would experience Mount Everest, you would experience Pathi Bhara in Taplejung, or you would experience like Bauddha, Swambhu and so on, and ultimately that would run in conjunction with other sort of online travel agencies, OTAs, like Thomas Cook and so on. And then that would allow Nepal to generate more tourists into the country and reach their target. Sadly, we lost to bureaucracy. And एउटा incident पनि भयो where we were pitching to Rabindra Adhikari, who was the tourism minister at that time. And he sadly passed away in a very unfortunate helicopter crash with Yeti Airlines co-founder as well. Ang Sharpaसँग पनि उहाँ बित्नु भयो अनि त्यसपछि हाम्रो प्रोजेक्ट सबै डामाडोल भयो बिकज नेपालमा के हुन्छ एउटा सत्ता पल्टेपछि अर्को नयाँ पार्टी आउँछ अर्को नयाँ पार्टीले नयाँ डिसिजन्स गर्छ पुरानो सबै डिसिजन्सहरूलाई चाहिँ ओभरराइड गरिदिन्छ सो वी वर ब्याक टु द ड्रइङ बोर्ड सो your question about why did I decide to do things in Nepal, it's not just my first attempt in going back to Nepal. तर मैले अहिलेसम्म पनि यस्तो ground create गर्न सकेको छैन that would allow me to reshift myself or relocate back to Nepal, because as much as I try, as much as we encourage this and as much as the heart craves, I've lost to bureaucracy, I've lost to the toxicity, I've lost to the deregulated side of the country. And there's not enough provisions for NRNs to go and reintegrate back into the society. Nepalमा गएपछि के हुन्छ भने यहाँ हुँदाखेरि we're not British enough, Nepalमा we're not Nepali enough. That conundrum stays with you all the time. Sometimes we're far too professional than what we see in Nepal, or how we do businesses in Nepal. So if you're not ready to do a lot of things under the table, you're not going to go far. And that to me, philosophically, principally, मेरो सिद्धान्तले दिदैन त्यही भएर म चाहिँ कति ठाउँमा चुकेको छु जस्तो लाग्छ एन्ड बारम्बार मलाई मेरो एकदम सक्सेसफुल साथीहरूले पनि भन्नुहुन्छ मेरो धेरै प्रिय साथीहरू हुनुहुन्छ नेपालमा देव सपोर्टेड मी थ्रु आउट तिमी उतै बस न तिमी किन यहाँ त्यहाँ उल्झिराख्छौ भनेर भन्नुहुन्छ कि And I think a lot of the NRNs are facing the same challenge. कि जान मन लाग्छ तर गएर गर्न खोज्दा फेरि nothing is stable. And the cost of transition, तिमी त्यहाँ गएर बस्नलाई सजिलो छ. 1, तिम्रो lifestyle adjustment. 2, cost. 3, the society treating you as a domestic tourist of some sort. And being seen as a cash cow. यो बाहिरबाट आछ यसलाई त त्यो हुन्छ के नेपालको वास्तविकता एकदम गाह्रो छ त्यहाँ गएर बिजनेस गर्नलाई एकदम गाह्रो छ टक्सिसिटी खुट्टा तान्ने प्रचलन एकदम नै कमन छ नजिक भन्दा नजिकको मान्छेलाई विश्वास गर्न सकिँदैन यो अहिले मैले 2019 मा यो कुरा गर्दिन थियो होला बिकज मलाई धेरै ऊर्जा थियो तर म अहिले अलिकति थाकेको छु And I don't want to deter other friends and family wanting to go back and contribute back to Nepal. तर धेरै सोचेर कदम चाल्नुहोस् and do your due diligence and do not fall predator to somebody else.
So, according to you, हजुरले भने अनुसार, that means will you like go back again and give something to the country, or like
always,
will you be like
always म गर्छु तर सतर्कताका साथ. You know how they say love with caution. नेपाल र नेपालको बिजनेस नेपालमा व्यापार गर्ने हो भने एकदम सतर्क भएर काम गर्नुपर्छ.
अनि तपाईले कोलाबोरेसनको बारेमा सोच्नु भएको छ कि छैन?
Oh, absolutely. Always. I'm always open to partnering with new talents, new businesses, new entrepreneurs. Like I said, bringing out new entrepreneurs, the same as what you guys have done through Amro, Dimal, businesses and so on, and you were part of InspireX and so on. My objective is also to bring and nurture new talents, new businesses, new entrepreneur, women-led. I'm not gender agnostic, like gender biased or something. Women-led, men-led, or collective community-led initiatives into one platform. The other goal I have is to bridge the intergenerational gap that is being created here for Nepali society. अनि त्यो चाहिँ हामीले पुरानो जेनेरेसनको नेपाली फोक्स र नयाँ जेनेरेसनको बालबालिकाहरूलाई एउटै प्लेटफर्ममा ल्याइसकेपछि मात्र त्यो ग्याप चाहिँ ब्रिज हुन्छ. अब कति कति पुरानो इनिसिएटिभहरू हेर्दाखेरि अहिले नयाँ नयाँ बच्चाहरू जान खोज्दैन के, किनभने दे फाइन्ड इट बोरिङ, दे फाइन्ड इट आउटडेटेड, दे डोन्ट फाइन्ड इट रेलेभेन्ट. सो त्यो रेलेभेन्सी हामीले कसरी क्रिएट गर्ने? हाउ डु वी स्टे रेलेभेन्ट विथ हाम्रो गोर्खा बाजे बजैहरू who are in their 80s, 90s, and also stay relevant with the teenagers or the younger generations. Of my family, I came into a family who migrated to the UK in 70s. Miro sasu sasura yaha 1970s, late 70s ma aiseko. My husband was born in late 70s. हैन, हाम्रो फ्यामिलीले मै ब्रिटिश बोर्न नेपालीहरू तेस्रो चौथो जेनेरेसन पुगिसक्यो. तर द इन्टरजेनेरेसनल ग्याप इज सो बिग. एकअर्कालाई बुझ्दैनौँ हामी. We're speaking in different languages now. There are people from different race in one household. एउटा डाइनिङ टेबलमा बस्दाखेरि चारवटा रेसको मान्छे छ हाम्रो घरमा. सो नेपाली बोल्ने नबोल्ने इज द प्रश्न itself. And in terms of नेपाली संस्कार, नेपाली व्यापार, नेपाली कम्युनिटीलाई हेल्प गर्ने कुरा, त्यो सबै कुरा नेपाली क्याम्पेन्स, नेपाली संस्थागत रूपमा, कम्युनिटी रूपमा हामी काम गऱ्यो भने मात्र त्यो ग्याप रहँदैन. नभए त पछि हामी बिलाएर जान्छौँ. हाम्रो एउटा औचित्य के रहन्छ, हाम्रो चिनारी के रहन्छ, त्यो सबै त्यसमा प्रश्न चिन्ह लाग्छ कि. अहिले पनि अब भाषाकै कुरा गरौँ हैन, कतिले नेपाली बोल्नु हुँदैन, त्यसमा म कसैलाई दोष लाउँदिनँ कि गाह्रो छ नि त. बिकज दिस इज we're a minority here, and our kids still have to go and be a part of this majority society and still feel like they're this, you know, intrinsic part of the British society. के गरोस् त बाबा, बिचारा उनीहरू पनि त कस्तो दोधारमा छ नि त, being brought out in this juxtaposition of Nepali, deep traditional Nepali foundation versus British society. Kasari navigate goros. So the more we're active in the community, the more we go to Nepal, come back, we're also involved here, involved there, then त्यो gap चाहिँ हामीले bridge गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ. नभए भने चाहिँ नेपाल के हो? Nepal is just going to be this amazing country in our minds. And it's just going to be in our memories. So दुःख परे, अब दुःखमा नआतिनु, सुखमा नमातिनु भने जस्तै नेपालमा पनि अब एकचोटि काम बनेन भन्दैमा एकदम पेसिमिस्टिक नहुनुस्, गरिराख्नुस्, and you will find your tribe. But दुई तीनचोटि नलडिकन चाहिँ सिकिँदैन.
Yes, दुई तीनचोटि नलडिकन सिकिँदैन. एक्ज्याक्टली. सो अहिलेसम्म हजुरले एकदमै स्ट्याटसकोलाई च्यालेन्ज गरेर, इन्कम्पिटेन्सिजहरूलाई च्यालेन्ज गरेर अगाडि बढिराख्नु भएको छ नि त. द एभ्रिथिङ यु हेभ बिन डुइङ सो फार अहिलेसम्म होइन. अनि टकिङ अबाउट यर न्यू प्रोजेक्ट द्याट यु हेभ डन ब्याक इन यर कन्ट्री, पायो नेपाल है. आई बिलिभ त्यसमा पनि है, इफ यु वर्क अन कोलाबोरेसन इट विल बी सो ग्रेट, किनभने यो आइडिया इज सो गुड.
हजुर, absolutely.
So when are you planning to go back to your country again?
अहिले चाहिँ I would love to take a moment of a breather. I had a very exhausting time, obviously being a mother and running a shop full time. I had staff, I had the right support, but then that shop ran, Payo Nepalko store ran in Noya Boutique Hotel in Goiridhara, and I had the longest commute because my parents moved out of to the outskirts of the valley as well. अनि म एकदम exhausted छु अहिले. So now I need to come back, realign my priorities and think about मेरो आफ्नो career, which is in IT, going back into the cloud computing job as well. So अहिले चाहिँ in the interim, I'm just taking a break. अब
Yeah.
Pop-up Nepalको अर्को फेरि showcase हुँदैछ. I'm planning for that. Then I've launched another project called
Oh
Pepper
my
Didi,
God. Yes,
which
yes,
I
we'll talk
announced
about-
to you
yeah.
yesterday. So Pepper Didi is animated cheerful character. उसको एउटा YouTube channel छ. And the reason why I've created Pepper Didi is to bridge the intergenerational gap I've been talking about. Now that I am a mother, I want to nurture and educate my baby a certain way. अनि नेपाली भाषा लिटरेचर संस्कृति सिकाउनलाई चाहिँ हामीसँग धेरै नै कम माध्यम भएको जस्तो मलाई अनुभूति भयो, स्पेशली फर एनआरएन्स, because we're in between two languages, two cultures and so on. So त्यसलाई अलिकति नजिक्याएर त्यसलाई नै क्रस पोलिनेट गरेर चाहिँ कसरी नयाँ तरिकाबाट बच्चा बच्चीलाई भाषा सिकाउन सकिन्छ, इन्गेज गर्न सकिन्छ, इन्टरेक्ट गर्न सकिन्छ भनेर. So I've created this beautiful Pepper Didi character, and hopefully त्यहाँको म्युजिक अथवा कन्टेन्टहरूद्वारा चाहिँ नेपाली बच्चा बच्चीहरूलाई आफ्नो देशको बारेमा, संस्कृतिको बारेमा धेरै कुराहरूको जानकारी पाउने, शिक्षामूलक हुने भन्ने चाहिँ मैले आशा गरेको छु. सो आइएम बिजी, आइएम लिटरली बिजी विथ सो मेनी थिङ्स. नेपाल तुरुन्तै जान मन छैन, त्यो हुन्छ पनि. एभ्री एनआरएन गोज थ्रु द्याट साइकल. तिमीलाई एउटा पोइन्टमा आउँछ, 4 महिना इज माई कट अफ पोइन्ट, त्यसपछि म एकदम एक्जस्टेड हुन्छ नि, आई निड टु गो ब्याक. नाउ आई निड अ ब्रिदर. एन्ड मेरो रेगुलरली जाने, नेपाल जाने आउने गर्ने जुन व्यापारमा लाग्नु भएको अन्टरप्रेन्योरियल फ्रेन्ड्सहरू हुन्छ, उहाँहरूलाई त्यो एकदम भइरहेछ कि. एन्ड इट्स बिकज वी आर टोर्न बिट्विन टु सोसाइटिज एन्ड वी जस्ट हेभ टु बी काइन्ड टु आवरसेल्फ एन्ड टेक द्याट ब्रेक. जान्छु, जाँदिनँ भनेको छैन, जान्छु, बट आई निड टु फोकस फ्यु थिङ्स हियर. एन्ड देन यहाँको प्रोजेक्ट्सहरू फेरि रिस्ट्याब्लिस अथवा अलिकति रिअलाइन भइसकेपछि आई विल बी इन अ बेटर स्टेट.
Yeah. So there are many people, अहिले स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू हुनुहुन्छ धेरै, अब न्यू बिज हुनुहुन्छ जो चाहिँ युके आउन चाहनुहुन्छ क्या, हु वान्ट टु स्टार्ट देयर लाइफ युकेमै होइन. अझै एक्सेस अरू कन्ट्री भन्दा युकेमा इट्स सो इजी, अरू कन्ट्रीको कम्पेरिजन लाइक अस्ट्रेलिया या युएसए भन्दा यहाँ चाहिँ अलिकति आउनै इजी छ स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई भनौँ या हुन्छ नि. सो उहाँहरूलाई तपाईँ के भन्न चाहनुहुन्छ, whoever is trying to come to the country, start their career or study, उहाँहरूलाई के भन्न चाहनुहुन्छ तपाईँ?
वेल, मेरो एक्सपिरियन्समा ढालेर भन्छु भने, I don't think I will be the right candidate for you because I had an easy way into this country. I came on a spouse visa, but I empathize and resonate with people who struggle for years and years. I have got my own family members जो चाहिँ पहिला त आइएलआर 10 वर्ष लाग्थ्यो पाउनलाई होइन, 9 वर्षको एन्डमा 10औं वर्ष छुने बेलामा पनि नेपाल फर्किनुपर्ने अवस्था देखेको छु. त्यसले गर्दा फेरि झनै डिप्रेसनमा परेर अनेक समस्याहरूमा परेको, ब्याक इन द सोसाइटी रिइन्टिग्रेट हुन नसकेको अथवा एकदम सेल्फ इस्टिमहरू लो भएको कहानीहरू पनि हामीले धेरै सुन्न सक्छौँ होइन. सो आउँदा फेरि वान यु हेभ टु मेक अप यर माइन्ड द्याट सजिलो चाहिँ हुने छैन. तपाईँले जिन्दगीमा सायद सबैभन्दा धेरै दुःख भोग्न लेखेको छ भने त्यो पहिलो 1-2 वर्षमै हुन्छ. त्यसलाई चाहिँ नजरअन्दाज नगर्नुहोस्. मलाई सुगर कोट गर्नु पनि छैन होइन, मस्का लगाएर भन्नु पनि छैन. तर त्यो 1-2 वर्ष तपाईँले त्यति दुःख गरेर तपाईँको भविष्य बन्छ. तपाईँले नेपाल बाहिर बस्न चाहनुहुन्छ अथवा पछि नै फर्केर केही योगदान पुर्याउन चाहन्छु भने पनि म केही फरक किसिमको अनुभूति अथवा अनुभव लिएर जान सक्छु भने मलाई यसले बलियो बनाउन सक्छ, विक त बनाउँदैन होला भन्ने सोचाइले आउनुहुन्छ भने चाहिँ आउनुहोस्. तर माइन्ड मेकअप गरेर आउनुहोस्, मेन्टली प्रिपेयर्ड भएर आउनुहोस्. फाइनेन्सियली सिक्योर हुन सक्नुहुन्छ भने पहिला नै बरु अलिक समय लिएर फाइनेन्सियली सिक्योर भएर आउनुहोस्. बिकज यहाँ पढेर बस्नु छ भने इट्स हार्ड टु जगल मल्टिपल जब्स, अर्न एन्ड देन डेटमा पढ्नुहुन्छ कतिजना. डेट पढेपछि आई युज टु वर्क फर अ ग्याम्लिङ कम्पनी एज वेल एन्ड आई हेभ सिन. पहिला म स्टुडेन्ट हुँदाखेरि एउटा ग्याम्लिङ कम्पनीमा पढ्थेँ मैले. नेपाली स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू थुप्रो ग्याम्लिङ गरेर चाहिँ डिप्रेसनमा पुगेको, अल्कोहल alcoholism फसेको धेरै कुराहरू देखेको छौँ मेजर इन्सिडेन्ट्सहरू पनि भएको छ where they've done self harm and so on हैन सो सजिलो छ भने चाहिँ म भन्दिनँ मैले तपाईहरुलाई इन्करेज नगरेको भनेर नभन्नु होला तर त्यो वास्तविकता हामीले त्यो रियालिटी हामीले बुझेर आउनुपर्छ we cannot just see like fancy pictures of London Eye and people dining in fancy sushi restaurants and so on. That is a reality you can create for yourself. I'm not saying you can't do it. We can do anything. Nothing is impossible. And Nepalihuru धेरैले कत्रो आफ्नो एउटा empire खडा गर्नु भएको. So the same way you guys came and you've done so much in such a short time. You know? So if you believe in yourself, UK is not just the country. अब यहाँको immigration rules are tighten हुँदैछ, which is making people a lot more difficult. अब highly skilled visas को processहरू पनि फरक हुँदैछ. Tier 1, Tier 2 visaहरू पनि फरक हुँदैछ. I'm not a lot more knowledgeable on this. तर feesहरू पनि महँगै छ हैन. I would say India is also a good route. There are other countries which could be a good route. It's subjective to you.
Yeah.
Your journey is subjective to you, your financial ability, I know your support, your ability to deal with uncertainties. हैन त्यो सबै आफूमा भर पर्ने कुरा हो अनि आफ्नो सपोर्ट सिस्टममा सो डु नट मेक द डिसिजन बाइ लुकिङ एट फलानो डिस्कानोले भिजा पाए म यहीँ जान्छु हो मेक द्याट योर पर्सनल जर्नी
या सो अब चाहिँ हामी एकदमै अन्तिमतिर आइसकेका छौँ आई लाइक टु एन्ड दिस पोडकास्ट नाउ तर लास्टली आई लाइक टु आस्क पेपर जसले हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हाम्रो पोडकास्ट है उहाँहरूलाई
हजुर
के मेसेज दिन चाहनुहुन्छ
I think this message has been inspired from motherhood and with all the hardship and chaos and uncertainties I've dealt with in the past year or 2 years. हामी collective society बाट collectively, socially engineer भएर आएको beings-हरु हौं हैन but we are at a point in life where we are earthlings. We are global. We have the power to be anybody. We have the power to recognize ourselves, our inner voice. We have the power to be protected, to feel heard, to feel seen. The challenge with coming from a collective society is often we do a lot of thinking for others and we make decisions based on what people will say or we have this fear of abandonment or we really are into people pleasing. अनि सबैभन्दा ठुलो कुरा चाहिँ के एउटा रियलाइज गर्नु पर्दो रहेछ भने आई थिङ्क वी निड टु रियली प्रिजर्भ आवर इन्डिभिजुअलिटी एन्ड नाउ इन द एज अफ with the Internet of Things, with the chaos of social media and also the power of social media, we often lose sight of who we are and what our inner voice is saying to us. And I would recommend people to have tech-free time, a gadget-free hour every week, so that they can reflect on their journey. They can really find themselves, because ekdam views aru polarized, saturated bhako time ma chhau. Ani universally pani ekdam time of conflict, ekdam imbalance create bhairacha ke world ma. I feel like people need to go within themselves and look for the real them, and cut out the noise. So ma afulai khojnus bhanchu. And the reason why I'm saying that is like this I'll end this with a joke. Nepal ma recently यो दुर्गेश थापाको गीत चल्यो के हजुर दुश्मन हेरेको I danced to it too, दुश्मन हेरेको हेरे. For that song to be so popular, this sentiment, enemies are watching me. makes you think that मान्छे सबैलाई मान्छेको धेरै दुश्मन छ जस्तो लाग्ने रहेछ नि त. Like you're having to fight for your identity.
Yeah.
You're creating this facade. You're being watched. People are envious of you. People are jealous of you, and so on. त्यो छ कि because social media has encouraged that type of environment.
Yes.
त्यस्तो गीत popular हुने माहौलमा toxicity पनि एकदम बढ्दो छ. त्यो रमाइलो गीत हो. It's very humorous. But if people are loving, I love that song.
Yeah.
If people are loving songs like Dusman Heriko Here, भनेपछि there's a lot of animosity in the air, and we're all liking it. So त्यही भएर आफूलाई आफ्नो अन्तर्यामी नै भएर आफू अन्तर्यामी हुनुस्, आफ्नो power withdraw नगर्नुस्, take charge of your emotions.
Yes.
And then just bring it home भन्छु म चाहिँ.
Thank you so much, Pepper.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for bringing a
you.
lot of spice in this podcast. Oh my God. It was such a great session
Thank
with
you
you.
for having me. It's such an honor, such a pleasure. I've really enjoyed being here. And we hope that we can, change a few people's opinion, change their lives in the little ways that we think might be possible.
Yes, it's possible. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.